overdrive with their firm belief that non-mother Meg was never pregnant, and the childless Sussexes continue to subject the world to an extraordinary hoax. Guided dance film is hard evidence that the manipulative Ms. Markle used prosthetic moon bumps to fabricate both of her phantom pregnancies. Certainly, that improbably huge, low-slung baby belly looked kind of odd, but...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's the fakest woman on the planet. That's why all these rumors come out and all these conspiracy theories start to come to light, and why people are really skeptical of her, because anything that comes out of her mouth, anything she does, doesn't have authenticity and really lacks legitimacy. So yeah,
She wore the crown, carried the bump, and dazzled the world with what looked like a perfect royal fairy tale, until whispers started drifting out from behind those gleaming palace walls. The pregnancy that once sparkled with elegance and prestige is now being tangled in rumors, speculation, and wild theories spreading across the internet. People are reacting in shock, clutching their pearls, questioning whether the royal moment they celebrated was truly what it seemed, or whether Meghan Markle became the center of a story shaped more by public imagination than reality.
Social media yesterday, which sent several people into absolute meltdown. It is the cringiest, most uncomfortable piece of tape.
Hollywood turtlety transformation shimmering under the global spotlight. The American actress turned duchess, glowing beneath camera flashes, gently holding her belly as headlines celebrated the royal moment. Yet behind those polished appearances, public speculation began to swirl. From the first time Meghan stepped out, softly touching her bump, some observers insisted something felt off. Her glow looked, to them, more staged than spontaneous. The way she moved, the way her appearance shifted, people convinced themselves they sensed a disconnect. Something they believed wasn't adding up.
Recently released twerking video, allegedly filmed 4 years ago when Meg was expecting Lilibet, has only served to intensify the fevered speculation that we're told is making the former actress's life a nightmare.
And no matter how many times she pushed back, the whispers just wouldn't disappear. Instead, they multiplied. They spread like wildfire across the internet. And now they've erupted into a full-blown spectacle after a chilling claim. Surfaced online from someone insisting they were inside the palace during Meghan's so-called pregnancy, watching everything unfold behind those guarded royal doors.
That the manipulative Ms. Markle used prosthetic moon bumps to fabricate both of her phantom pregnancies. Certainly, that improbably huge, low-slung baby belly looked kind of odd.
An anonymous royal nurse, not some random conspiracy chaser, not a gossip blogger desperate for clicks. No, this woman claims she was there, a seasoned medical professional who allegedly walked those same palace halls, followed strict royal protocols, and witnessed what she now describes as a carefully crafted performance. She isn't painting a picture of a fairy tale. She's describing what she believes was a farce.
She's supposedly 9 months pregnant in the hospital room, dancing with a big belly.
Her words were chilling, her allegations explosive. The nurse claims that Meghan's baby bump wasn't what the world believed at all, insisting it was a prop, a carefully fitted silicone moon bump secured beneath designer dresses, adjusted for appearances, hidden in plain sight. "I knew something was wrong the moment I stepped into that room," she allegedly said. The atmosphere felt heavy, unnatural. Everyone acted on edge. It didn't feel like a maternity suite. It felt like a staged scene. There wasn't a birth plan, there was a script.
Would the gruesome twosome pretend to be parents? That is the question. Another question, the one the conspiracy theories ask.
She says the usual royal medical staff were nowhere to be found. The familiar faces had vanished. Instead, she claims there were unfamiliar figures, distant, expressionless, wearing blank name badges and speaking in stiff, rehearsed tones. No charts, no ultrasound equipment, no monitors, no medical preparations of any kind, just whispers, coded glances, and a sense that everyone was following silent instructions. It didn't feel like a pregnancy at all, it felt like a production. And then came what she called the most shocking detail. There was no sign of a baby. "Not once did I hear a heartbeat," she allegedly said. "Not once did I see an ultrasound." Meghan was never medically examined. Every appointment was delayed, moved, or handled somewhere out of sight. Yet publicly, the palace kept the narrative alive. The Duchess was expecting. The world was waiting. But inside, she claims, it was all smoke and performance. The nurse describes the room as sterile and staged, with lights arranged not for medicine, but for photography. It felt more like a documentary set than a maternity ward, she said, like a film scene where no one ever yelled cut. Her words sent shockwaves through royal circles. Skeptics who had whispered for years about the folding bump, the shifting timelines, and the infamous belly bounce clip now felt vindicated. Of course, Meghan's defenders pushed back immediately. They insist the nurse's story is cruel, fabricated, and rooted in the same bullying Meghan has faced for years. But critics counter with, if the claims are so ridiculous, why do they line up with everything people have noticed? And then Christopher Bowsey entered the conversation again, and his comments reignited the entire debate. Suddenly, the royal rumour that refused to die received its loudest echo yet. Because if even a fraction of what this nurse alleges is true, people are asking what they've actually been believing all this time. If Meghan wasn't pregnant, then who carried the children? Who gave birth? What has been hidden behind tightly controlled royal smiles? Critics point out that the pattern is always the same: confusion, chaos, control. And nothing highlights that more than the viral clip that was meant to be sweet. A behind-the-scenes moment. Meghan, supposedly 9 months pregnant, dancing and laughing with Harry. But instead of joy, viewers saw something different. The bump didn't move like a real baby bump. It shifted, it wobbled, it looked unstable. One commenter said, it looked like it was about to slip off. Another compared it to a bag of socks under a dress. Within hours, the internet exploded. Skeptics mocked it. Critics called it grotesque. And mothers said it felt disrespectful to women who have carried real pregnancies. What was supposed to be adorable suddenly became uncomfortable. Even former supporters began to question what they were watching. The supposedly authentic Duchess appeared staged. The empowered mum-to-be looked oddly out of character. Instead of bonding with mothers, she pushed them away. What should have been intimate came off as performative, and the world noticed. What should have been heartwarming instead felt strangely hollow. Critics argued it wasn't about motherhood at all, it was about marketing. They claimed Meghan wasn't sharing joy. She was crafting an image. Her public pregnancy moments didn't feel like genuine memories. They felt like PR packages. And this time, they say, it backfired spectacularly. For many viewers, that one video cemented a new perception of Meghan. Someone obsessed with her brand. A woman more focused on presentation than authenticity. She's addicted to publicity, one commentator insisted. For her, attention is currency. As long as her name trends, it's a win. And now, the same Meghan who publicly highlighted her baby bump guards her children's appearances like state secrets. 2 children, Archie and Lilibet, yet almost no unfiltered public record of them. No clear photos, no spontaneous sightings, no verified hospital releases, no traditional royal portraits. Paparazzi shots? None. In every image, the faces are blurred, turned, or obscured. One photo shows a foot, another a small hand, another is just silhouettes. It's like the children exist only in fragments. We've seen more of Bigfoot, a critic joked, and shockingly, the internet agreed. Supporters say it's simply privacy, but skeptics note that other celebrities, Beyoncé, Kim Kardashian, even Kate Middleton, show their children in controlled, respectful ways. Meghan's total blackout doesn't look like privacy to them anymore. It looks strategic. And it raises the uncomfortable question. If everything about the pregnancies was tightly controlled, how do you reveal children who barely appear in public at all? How do you maintain a motherhood narrative people now question? One commentator put it bluntly, surrogacy isn't wrong, but hiding it would be. And if Meghan did craft a narrative, critics say every photo becomes part of the performance. Harry wrote a children's book about fatherhood. Their entire brand, the modern, relatable royal family, was built around that image. But what if parts of that image were more curated than organic? Even longtime supporters admit the secrecy feels strange. The missing photos, the overly perfect family visuals that do appear. Everything looks so polished, edited, almost unreal. While their PR team quietly tried to patch the growing cracks, the public's patience thinned. Every denial sounded scripted. Every new picture looked filtered. Meghan's carefully maintained smile seemed strained. The woman who once charmed millions now faced a crowd of doubters waiting for answers. And then came another controversy right on cue. Meghan's new lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard. It was pitched as elegant, warm, natural, but instead became another lightning rod. The star product, jam. Yes, jam. Glossy jars with gold labels, unveiled like royal relics. Prices were rumored to reach $80 a jar. Social media erupted. One marketing expert called it cosplay capitalism, a performance pretending to be a business. Another joked, to maintain that Montecito lifestyle, she'd have to sell 7,000 jars of jam a day. And in the middle of this whirlwind, Meghan shared a new, charming story. Or at least, one that might have been charming if people still believed her. She claimed her children, the same rarely seen, often questioned children, were selling her jam at a local farmer's market. Little Archie and Lily learning about hard work and money. Sweet, wholesome, adorable, except no one saw it happen. No photos, no shoppers posting selfies, no vendors sharing stories, no local articles covering it, nothing at all. Montecito's farmers' markets are always crawling with influencers, cameras in hand. Yet, somehow, not a single photo exists of those royal children selling jam, not one. The story was meant to feel wholesome, but instead it rang hollow. It's classic Meghan, one insider claimed. A narrative too picture-perfect to believe. Critics called it pure marketing. The kids cast as props in yet another carefully staged scene, crafted to make her brand seem relatable. And the internet tore into her all over again. Even the kids are PR tools, one tweet said. Everything she does is performance, because it's a pattern, isn't it? Every time Meghan's image slips, a new story materializes, glossy, precise, and almost painfully curated. But this time, people didn't want sweetness. They wanted answers. And then came the brutal twist. Meghan, who said she was selling jam for empowerment, suddenly became the punchline of her own glossy empire. Commentators mocked her as the apricot tycoon without a clue. Comparisons flew, Dolly Parton selling wine because people loved her. But Morena, she was peddling illusion in a jar. The laughter wasn't playful anymore, it was pitying. Somewhere between the moulded bump, the staged family appearances, and the glossy marketing clips, Morena's empire of illusion began to crack. Yet, she carried on, smiling, posting, pretending everything was fine. Behind the signature composure, insiders whispered she was panicking, terrified the confession of a palace nurse might unravel the carefully controlled narrative. If even a shred of the story were true, it could destroy her reputation and dismantle the royal image she and her spouse had built their fortune on. The more viewers replayed the pregnancy clips, the stranger they seemed, the folds in the costume, the oddly shifting shapes, the bump bouncing unnaturally when she crouched. Women who'd actually been pregnant began speaking out online. "That's not how it moves," one wrote. "No one 9 months along could bend like that." Voices grew louder. Nurses, midwives, parents, all asking the same haunting question. Was she ever really pregnant at all? And then the discussion darkened. If she wasn't, what about birth certificates, hospital staff, godparents? Why had no one outside the family ever seen the children clearly? Where were official announcements, ceremonial steps, or staff celebrations? Royals before her had done it. Every detail had been public. But Morena's silence was deafening. There were no verified hospital testimonies, no confirmed doctors, no official records, only vague PR statements, soft focus clips, and carefully cropped social media posts. Every frame had been curated, every angle carefully chosen. It wasn't transparency, it was theatre. Now, with the nurses' claims spreading like wildfire online, those blurred lines looked more sinister than ever. The moulded bump, the staged nursery, the rotated medical teams, it all fit. Perhaps this wasn't a miracle at all. Perhaps it was a performance that had gone too far. Marina always claimed she was misunderstood, a woman crushed by public scrutiny. But maybe, just maybe, she had been the director of her own illusion. From fairy tale bride to misunderstood mother, every act had been perfectly lit, scripted, and controlled. But when the lights dimmed and the cameras stopped rolling, what remained? If the pregnancies had never existed, then the entire brand collapsed. The devoted mother, the compassionate duchess, the relatable businesswoman, all illusions. And that perhaps was the real tragedy. Not just the scandal, but the transformation of life itself into content. Motherhood into marketing, and reality into a storyboard. Marina Hale once promised authenticity. Now, the world wasn't sure she had ever shown anything real at all.